Welcome everyone. I think we're live. I think we'll get straight to it, Nicki, today.
Yep, let's do it.
Awesome. Welcome everyone to the third Fast SaaS Masterclass. Again, apologies to all of those in good old England, south of Birmingham, for which the title of this show does not rhyme. Today we're welcomed by Tom Castley, VP EMEA at Outreach. Welcome, Tom. And the topic for today's quiz is great customers are born from great value creation. Very interesting topic. Nick and I have been very excited about this one, expecting good things and a good score, Tom. Before we get going into the format and the scoring, I think we'll do a quick intro. So perhaps we'll start with yourself, Tom. Who are you, where do you come from, and what do you do?
So good afternoon, everybody. So Tom Castley, I am the exec in region for Outreach, so leading our charge in the international space. I have the enviable job of watching awesome talent do great stuff every day, which is cool. Where do I come from? Hertfordshire, family of 4. I've got 4 kids, oldest 14, youngest 7. So I think I do more selling at home than I do at work.
Nice to have you. Welcome. Yep. Nicki, perhaps you can introduce yourself to everyone as well. I know they know who you are now, but why not?
Yeah, Nicki Paterson, Global Head of Business Growth at Solutions Driven, which is a hidden title for sales and account management and customer success. But again, leading our charge, I guess, on a global stage with, the clients across the US, EMEA, and Southeast Asia, going through a big boom at the moment. I think the last 6 months, that's for sure. And for me, trying to juggle selling in the office, selling to the delivery team, and also selling to the wife and 2 kids. So I very much know how you feel there, Tom.
Awesome. Nice to have you again, Nicki. And myself, Rory Brown, I'm the co-founder of Cluster, the revenue analytics and forecasting platform, really focused on helping scaling SaaS companies become super predictable. Right, to the quiz. So for those of you that are new, it's a format of 3 rounds, 10 points per round, and 1 bonus round where there's an additional 5 points up for grabs. There's a total of 35, Tom, no pressure.
Scoring. Super competitive as well. Yeah.
Scoring criteria, brevity, simplicity, and actionability. Now, Nicki, you've previously been soft on these, so a little bit harder on Tom today, please. We're expecting good things. Round 1, we're going to be looking at what is value creation. Round 2, we're going to be looking at metrics to measure the performance of. And round 3, we're looking at frameworks for implementing. Bonus round is a couple of fairly unrelated questions, but they're a surprise, Tom.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
I think the key to this, Tom, is by the end of today, you'll be in the top 3.
Right. Okay.
Bronze medal guaranteed.
There's been 2 other guests. Yeah. Brilliant.
You'll be a Fast SaaS Masterclass Olympian for sure.
Definitely. You're in the medals. You're in the medals. So let's start with, defining what value creation actually means to you.
What value creation means to me? There's 3 types of reps. A C-grade rep stops looking for value when, in their own mind, they've found enough to justify their list price. A B-grade rep stops looking for value when they believe the prospect has found enough to justify the list price. An A-grade rep stops looking for value when the customer doesn't care what the price is. And an A+ rep stops looking for value when the customer is able to tell everybody else in the business why they don't care what the price is. In other words, they have ownership of that value as well. So that's what it is to me. And you have to, as a rep, quantify the impact of any given solution or outcome that somebody's looking for. What's causing somebody to change, and what is the outcome they're after? Because change is tough. Nobody does it, voluntarily. So what is the payback that they're looking for from that? What's the size of the problem they're trying to fix?
Just in time for the buzzer there. Perfect.
Awesome. Great answer. Thanks for the structure there, Tom. Brilliant. On to question 2. Remember what's tricky. How would you describe its role in acquiring great customers?
So great customers are those ultimately that become advocates and fans of the product, service, or capability that you're providing them. They will only do that if they can stand behind the results. It can't just be like an emotional, oh, I'm on the journey with this particular vendor. They have tangible benefits to go after. So it's a prerequisite for me. If you're not providing significant impact, they're not going to be a great customer. 2 is, if you look at Yako winning by design, he's very overt in saying that fast-growing, successful companies only acquire between 9 and 14% of the lifetime value of a customer in the first transaction. And so if you haven't established the value and you don't iterate on that value continuously, the likelihood of you getting 100% of the lifetime value of that customer, which is where profitable, high margin business comes from, falls off the floor.
Yeah. All right. Awesome answer. What is a great customer in your eyes, and how do you turn that, I guess, into a rep mentality?
Yeah, so we have a formula here that we run with. We did some analysis and found it's the formula runs. I can't do this, which means I can't get that, and that's costing me this because of it. The ABC, if you will. And what we tend to find is a lot of reps across industry and before they get some training internally here are very good at telling us what the customer can't do. And the win rate on those is around about 20-25%. If we add the second one, which is the which means that, so what, who cares, the win rate goes up to 35-45%. And if we add the third, which is costing me X in the business, it goes up to 65 or 75%. The kicker is there's one before it, which is kind of the beginning of the alphabet, which is we've tried all of this to do it. So our full statement is tried this, this, and this, but we can't do this, which means we can't get that, and it's costing us this. When you get all 4, the win rates are north of 85%. When the reps understand that, they buy into the process.
So a quick question on that, Tom, just for everyone listening, 85% from what stage in an opportunities journey?
From sales accepted lead.
Fantastic.
Now, obviously, you can't collect all of that information in the first meeting. So again, this is a mentality changes.
Yeah.
You know, in some fast-growing businesses, what they think discovery is the initial meeting, and then it's like, you know, you shut the submarine door and you can't ask another discovery question. You're kind of in demo mode at that point. Until somebody is able to answer all 4 questions, we don't stop interrogating the deal and finding out, are they speaking to other people, look for other initiatives, dig into it, and so on and so forth.
See, you know, with brevity being one of the scoring mechanisms of this, you know, I find, you know, there's a lot being said about it. Mark, you know, Mark Costigo was just talking about it last week, you know, brevity being one of the most important parts. And I'm pairing that up with what you said earlier with new reps. I guess inexperienced reps love doing what I do and keep talking about what they think you want or what they sell. You know, I guess as a flung in bonus question, how do you teach brevity to new reps to continue lots of discovery questions?
Yeah, I'm on a 2-year journey of it myself. You know, an important email takes me 2 days to send. I write it once, I'll shorten it down, and then I look at it the second day to shorten it down again to the point at which it's on the cusp of being rude. And that's a very thin line to drive. Yeah. But you know, if it's an email, it's going to be read on a mobile phone. I ideally want it to be seen on one screen and not have to scroll. So it's super tough. the best area around brevity is geeking out on sales questions. My favorite question that we've come up with recently when speaking with when speaking with prospects, is who is the best supplier you've ever worked with and why did you like them so much? And I can't be brief. I'm going to explain just how much gold comes out of that answer. They basically walk you through how to sell to them and how to behave. Super powerful question.
There's the bonus clip right there for us to cut out after this. Awesome.
Round one done. Out of 10, Nicki, what are you thinking? I'm thinking high on actionability, some really nice frameworks there, which I liked.
Yeah.
Pretty good simplicity. And I think we were within the buzzer for all three.
We were within the buzzer from all three, and I did ask to explain brevity, so I'm not punishing for the longer explanation of that. So for me, I'm going for a 9.5 here.
Oof, punchy. I'll go for a 9.
Perfect.
It doesn't even work. We'll go 8.5 and balance out at 9, shall we? It worked, Tom. All right.
What would I have to do to get a 10?
There's still time.
They don't exist. Yeah.
Unachievable. Round 2, we're on to metrics. And the first question, Tom, actually comes from me this time. So how can we measure the effectiveness of value creation in the sales process? I think you've actually answered this, but perhaps you could expand a bit more.
Yeah, so we're capturing that data around what they can't do, what they can't get as a result of it, how much that's costing them, and what else they've tried. And we know that when we've got quality data in there, we know what the close and win rates are, and they'll be different for different businesses. I'm not suggesting that if you get all 4 of those, everybody will get 85%. If you don't have a great product like we do, it's probably going to be a bit lower. The key to that is for it to be quantifiable. Yeah, so it has to have a number to it. It can't be significant or any other adjective to describe pain. It has to have a tangible number to it. Or to have, if they really can't provide you any of that, then, kind of a score out of 10. Yeah, so you kind of got some element of a gap analysis. The second thing is to have that conversation, to paraphrase Skip Miller and proactive selling, above the line and below the line. Yeah. The reason for that is when you speak to people below the line, you get the impact today. When you speak to people above the line, you get what it was previously or where it can't be in 6 months' time. And then you've got the dialogue of value in the present and also in the past and future tense. And we know that people above the line, senior people, don't live in the present.
Oh.
I think he's just about answered that in time again. Well done. Yeah. Well done. And I think spot on. I mean, that's, above the line, below the line for me. It's the perfect analogy of value creation. It's what I think about right away is who you're speaking to first and foremost. Anything else is almost irrelevant if below the line. For me, this is more on the reps again, but how do you hold the reps accountable to metrics that are not obviously tied to their self-interests? Because reps can see, I hit a certain number, I make a certain amount. How do you get really accountable to value creation?
Well, one is helping them understand that the easy way is the hard way and the hard way is the easy way. Yeah, so what at first might seem simple, which is just being busy, yeah, and not closing opportunities. The best example I give for all new starters here is, typical win rates in software companies is about 30%. There's 200 selling days in the year. So effectively, you're bringing me business for 60 days of the year and you're working for my competitors as a PR and marketing machine for the other 140. At least I want it to be a majority of the time you're working for me, seeing as I pay your salary. And the only way they can do that is to increase their conversion rate. And the only way you can increase your conversion rate is two-step process. One is value is urgency. Urgency is required. And the approach to doing that is you've got to get into, financial and costs.
Awesome. Good answer.
Very good answer. Love that a lot.
I'm going to be saying that to my team first thing tomorrow morning.
Presumably, Tom, there's a lot of conversations we have with teams where SDRs hand over to account execs, which is very, very common in our SaaS world. There's a huge importance then on the correctness of the level of that first meeting that come from the SDRs. Would that be right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Third question, round 2. How do you measure a sales leader or sales manager, whatever you want to call them, VP sales? How do you measure their ability to implement effective value creation in their team as a team total?
Well, one is I don't hire sales leaders who aren't coaches.
Okay.
So the primary there's 4 traits, but the primary trait I'm looking for in sales leaderships is their coachability and their ability to coach. So we'll have them talk us through during interview, how would you make a rep a better storyteller, and give me examples of how you've done that. What structures are you using? How do you help reps do better discovery? What frameworks have you got in place? So they're typically geeked out on sales management, sales leadership. So key for that is just hire well.
Music to my ears.
And for Nicki Paterson. Brilliant. Nicki, scores in the doors. What are we thinking here?
I'm going for a 9 this round.
I'm also going for a 9. That was very good.
Awesome.
I'm writing notes myself.
Yep, I've got a few things I'm taking away here.
Awesome. Okay, round 3, we're on to frameworks, Tom. And the first question from Nicki this time.
Yep, so how do you ensure reps are able to replicate your best version of value creation?
Sheet music. So what I mean by that is if the 3 of us were musicians and we all played a different instrument, and we probably might have a different preference on style of music. Rory's definitely like drum and bass clubber. I could see you, Nicki, as being a bit more of a jazz person, and I'm like 80s glam rock. Yeah. If we played the same sheet music, to the untrained eye, it would sound as though it's a unique piece of music, and they wouldn't recognize that actually it's the same notes in the same order. There's just a bit of je ne sais quoi around it. The reason that's key is authenticity in sales is the number one method of building rapport, relatedness, and engagement with a prospect. So if you over-index on a script or things that you're looking for, you lose that authenticity. However, even in any kind of musical score, as soon as you hit a wrong note, it stands out. So everybody who works for us has mastered the sheet music, the concerto that we've given them, but they play it with their instrument and in their style. And actually, when they get better, they're able to flex on instrument and style in sympathy for the prospect that we're working with.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that analogy. Could you give us a more specific example of, let's say, a framework you use or a part of the process where artistic license is possible?
So I'm a big advocate of the Sandler pain funnel. So the 7 questions, written originally by psychiatrists to help with any form of counseling, but it's still relevant in sales. It's been around for 25 odd years, and I still believe it's the best way of value creation. So it starts off with kind of the factual, objective kind of view of the situation, moves into, which is first level pain. Second level pain is business financial impact, and third level pain is personal. So those 7 questions are: tell me a little bit about what's going on. Tell me a little bit more. How long has it been going on? What have you tried to do to address it? What's the impact on your business, the fact that you can't do it? And then how important is it to you personally to address that? And the last one that's kind of been added recently is, and have you given up on it? In other words, is it still worth going after?
Awesome.
Love that in its own right. And then freedom of choice around, how you frame those questions. Yeah.
Brilliant. One to look up, team. Question 2, Nicki.
What are the 3 must-haves for it to prevail across reps?
Curiosity, coachability, taking responsibility. By that I mean owning their own mistakes. There's only 2 reasons you lose a deal. You either shouldn't have been in it in the first place, or you were outsold. Number 4 is a passion for the area or industry you're selling into. Yeah, off the cuff.
Very good.
So very quickly, given we've got a little bit of time on this question, Tom, I know you're big on frameworks in the hiring process. I know you've been working with Nicki on this, but what kind of little tips would you give as to how you can consistently weed out these qualities in the interview process for those that are less experienced?
Yeah, ask questions related to those skills. So if you want to test somebody's attention for detail or their willingness to be curious and research, a great question I like to ask is, I assume you've had a look at our website. Oh yeah, I had a look at it. What 3 things would you change about our website?
So
what are you looking?
Traditional. What's the value?
Now I'm looking to see, are they genuinely curious? Did they have a real look through it? Had they looked through it? And I had a few months back, I had somebody say, well, I found it really difficult to find your address on the website. So what, at the bottom of every single page? Don't blag a blagger. Yeah.
So, that's again off-piece question here, but in the interview process, is there any one you don't need to say who the person is, but has there ever been a now employee that's just done something completely off-piece, different, blown you away, surprised you in any way, and what was that?
Yeah, so I'd like a question for the SDRs, which is you'll be an expert in something that hopefully I know very little about, and I'd like you to teach me in a way that I can teach somebody else. So that question's really important, because part of the ability to inspire confidence and value is not just to teach somebody, but to teach them in a way that they can go and tell other people in the business how great product or service is. So communication style's very different. And she had a basketball with her, so I learned how to hold and shoot a basketball. I'm not an audible learner. I'm a physical, visual learner. So and she did qualify that. She basically said, how do you like to learn? I said, I like to learn doing stuff. Brings down, gets the basketball out. Right, here we go. It's like brilliant.
Awesome.
Funnily enough, I had one of the best. I must have got this question from you, Tom. Maybe I had one of the best answers to that today, and the subject was biochemical pathways.
Nice.
And they gave a beautiful, simple, analogied explanation that I could have told to anyone.
See, somebody in sales who can do analogies off the cuff. That is, if storytelling is the black and white version on the telly, adding analogies in makes it 4K color. Yeah, superb skill. Hire them.
End up right a book on them.
Yeah.
They don't know if I'm going to offer them a job yet, Tom. So just in case they're watching, I'll stay something. Know who they are. Okay, and that's round 3 done, Nicki. So again, scores on the doors. I was impressed again. But what do you think?
Again, I know I'm typically fairly lenient, but there was two or three curveballs in there and some additional questions. But I'm going to give a 10 purely for the hours that our rep is working for the business and not. I'm giving him a 10.
That was very good. I would have gone for a 10, but he actually gave 4 answers to the question where we're looking for 3. So attention to detail there. I'm going to go for 9, which gives us a 9.5.
Awesome.
Steward's inquiry.
Right.
We've got a couple of minutes left here. I think
a couple of bonus questions. I think, Nicki, do we?
Yeah, I'd love to. I think for me, and I think you'll see it yourself. We're talking about SDRs. I'm so, I love seeing people that are self-learning, continuous improvement, and wanting to do better. And I think the difference in the past 5-10 years from people just turning up, doing the same thing every day, to wanting to be better. And, there are more things to watch and learn and read out there. I love seeing that. I guess my question is, what do you see being next, Tom? Right now, everybody's on this path, on this journey. There are unicorns everywhere. SDR roles becoming more important, sometimes a career. What do you see as being the next big sales transition?
Yeah, so I was talking on another podcast about this earlier this week with Thibaut over at is it Sales Code? I forget his company, but he's super smart. I love him. So sales is at its most simplistic level is split into the emotional purchase and then the rational, or the emotional decision and the rational purchase. And in this region, in Europe, the way you get somebody to the emotional purchase is they have to discover that doing nothing is the worst possible decision they could make. So now they're in decision-making mode, and now it's just that they're in momentum. They've overcome stability preference. Look that up. It's a really powerful psychological dynamic. And then you get them in the rational process, which is more kind of project program management, getting them through technical validations and legals and commercials. My vision is that here at Outreach today, we don't have our SDRs book meetings, they start opportunities. So they actually get people going on that journey to discover that doing nothing is the worst possible decision they could make. I think we are on the cusp of being able to take our SDRs to actually own the entire part of that first journey and get somebody to the emotional decision. And then we'll have the AEs, the traditional AEs, as experts, as practitioners, as program managers to walk them through the complexity of purchase, because it's getting more complex. Yeah. And somebody challenged me when they listened to that. Said, "Oh, so you basically saying you're going to stack all your AEs?" I'm like, whoa. Different skill sets, experience, presence, je ne sais quoi are all key in that confidence building reality stage. And as I quoted Yako earlier, the 9 to 14%, if you only get 9 to 14% of the lifetime value in that first transaction, profitability for me is how close to 100% can we get in, say, 12 months? And the skill of that practitioner that walks them through that rational buying process and creates the momentum and the commercial vehicles and the communication and what have you with the customer that optimizes that and brings that forward, that's operating margins. That's leveraging a business significantly. That's my vision.
That's an awesome answer. I mean, I think for me, I'm very blessed here that the owners of my business are completely driven by delivering. And when delivering well, I guess, churn is irrelevant. These things just take care of themselves. Business takes care of itself. But, for me, no longer is just simply renewing another 12-month contract good enough. You're not going to get value of a renewal. You want your customer to do what they couldn't do and make what they couldn't make, as you said earlier. So totally agree with you there, Tom. Absolutely.
One last one from me, Tom, as well. This concept that you introduced, the stability preference. I've heard a few ways of it being described. Some people talk about like destabilizing the status quo as another description I've kind of heard, which may be slightly different, but there's obviously a way of doing that. What's like one or two key things, particularly for SDRs who are typically newer to the world of work and less developed in their skill set, that are like surefire ways of making people think the way I do it today, regardless of whether I go with Outreach or someone else or build it myself, I cannot continue?
Yeah, so I'll keep this high level so that it's adaptable to as many people as possible. If you are selling a product or service that's typically replacing something else, the go-to model would be Challenger. If you are selling a product or service that is starting a new initiative, in other words, it's innovative, people haven't thought about it before and what have you. So like Hopin a little while ago, virtual conferences, they weren't replacing anything, it was just pure demand. And it's an education-based sell, then Sandler would be my go-to. And the reason for that is Challenger, by its very nature, challenges somebody's core held belief on what they're currently doing and helps them to discover the difference. And that's a replacement strategy. Sandler helps somebody quantify what they can't do, won't get, and are not able to achieve by doing it their current way.
Awesome answer, thank you. I'm going to go soft here, Nick. I'm going to give a 5 for the bonus round. I thought it was excellent. What do you think?
I think he's just got a 5 based on that last sentence alone, right there. I love the Challenger versus Sam. I absolutely love that. So 5 points for me as well. I think that puts him top of the leaderboard.
32.5 out of 35, Tom Castley. Not bad.
Get in. Yeah.
Tell your kids tonight they'll be proud of you.
By 1 point, I think it does. He takes gold.
There you go.
Awesome. Been a pleasure, Tom. Thanks for coming on the Fast SaaS Masterclass. Some real great frameworks, lots of materials, I think, Nicki, for people to go and look up there and read about, which is what we want. So been a real pleasure, Tom.
Yeah, I love the format. Super pressured. I'm kind of like, I've got clammy hands.
That's what it's all about. Got to put you under pressure.
Well, he's got 151 miles to cycle in a couple of months. That's a walk in the park compared to that. Brilliant. Thanks very much, Tom. Appreciate it.
Nicki, always a pleasure.
See you soon, sir. Thanks, guys.
Cheerio.
Cheers.
Bye.